The 38th Annual CSUN Assistive Technology Conference, the premier forum on technology for persons with disabilities. Sharing of knowledge, research, and developments. Hundreds of educational sessions. An extensive exhibit hall showcasing the latest practical solutions. Connecting with colleagues, peers, and industry leaders. Technology for an inclusive world, where innovation and independence come together. Showcasing the latest in accessibility and assistive technology. Promoting inclusion for all. Engage, share, and learn. The 38th Annual CSUN Assistive Technology Conference.
Okay, welcome to the afternoon session of the CSUN ATC TV broadcast studio. We've got a phenomenal organization here represented, and they're also exhibiting at the show, and they'll give you more information on that later. I'd like to welcome Mark Robbins, the Executive Director of the Quality of Life Plus program, and Scott Hoivert, who's the Program Manager for the Rocky Mountain region. Gentlemen, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us.
So this is a great story about what these gentlemen do and their organization. Give us an overview of the organization and a little bit of the history, if you would.
The full name is, as you said, Dave, Quality of Life Plus program. We just go by QL Plus. It makes our life easier and easier to write those donation checks with the abbreviation. But started in 2009, and it grew after a few years of working with a lot of different colleges and a lot of different veterans and first responders. And the real nutshell casing of what we do is we work with disabled veterans and first responders to provide them with assistive technology. But we do it through a program with college engineering students. So we have 21 universities across the country that participate with us, and they get projects that we'll explain later and how that process works. But they get projects to work on. It's part of their senior capstone project. So for the students, they're graded. It's part of their final project they need to graduate as an engineer. And at the end, they work with the what we call our challengers, the veterans and first responders, and work with them and get through the whole process. It's a year-long program for the students and for the challengers from fall through spring semester.
And how did the organization get started?
It started with a gentleman who served in a lot of different capacities. I don't know if he was military, but also CIA.
United States Air Force.
And Air Force. And he has worked, he just saw a need for this, and he started kind of reaching out to different schools to try to get started, and it just kind of became its own little program after a while.
So how are the challengers selected for this innovation?
So I can speak on that. A lot of our challengers find us through either word of mouth or we seek them out. I personally work with military organizations tied to veteran resources and organizations. So I have a lot of face time in front of the military community. Being a veteran myself, I'm involved in a lot of veteran organizations in the Colorado area, throughout the Midwest, and here West Coast. So a lot of it does come from face-to-face. It could be as simple as somebody hears about us and finds us on our website and clicks a button and says, I have an idea for this. I can do this. They bring us the concept sometimes. A lot of our concepts come out of necessity. So they have something that they're unable to do. Whether there's no one disability that we work with. It's whatever the individual's living with. And the other way that we kind of find projects is out of fun, hobbies. A lot of them are sport-centric. So a lot of people are trying to play a sport or learn a new sport and have some kind of limiting disability that doesn't allow that. So we try to find a way to make it happen.
So how do the schools become involved with their engineering students?
It's a combination. Sometimes they seek us out. Sometimes we seek them out. I can talk about a couple colleges that joined us this past year. One is Virginia Military Institute joined us. That interest came because we had a professor at Norwich University in Vermont that got a new job at VMI, and he wanted to bring the program with him, so we were able to pull that together and got that started for him. Another new school is Grace College in Indiana, and the professor there actually heard of us through just some professional journals where they saw some projects being talked about at some other schools, and he reached out to us and said, how can we get involved? And they actually have a new program, new engineering program there. So for them, we kind of got in on the ground floor with them.
So tell us how the process works, and maybe use an example anecdotally, but just one typical project, how it would function, how it would take place.
So once we've established recruiting efforts and found somebody that has a concept, they've either come to us or we found them. They say, I would like to achieve X. And we say, okay, so what we try to do is find what are they trying to do, what school, university, engineering style is going to fit that project the best, where would it make the most sense to build it. I have a project now, it originated in Colorado, but it's doing much better in Florida just because of the nature of the project. So we pair the individual up with the university that makes the most sense and with the teams that make most sense. If I have a team that's heavy mechanical centric, we can find schools that are very good at mechanical. If they need some other disciplines of engineering, we pair them up with the university that makes the most sense.
But it's predominantly mechanical engineering students?
I would say the majority of them are. We have had some partnerships in the past with biomedical companies that specialize in a little bit of everything. We actually have an opportunity this summer that we're trying to create a very interesting project with a private biomedical company that has a very vertical structure for manufacturing. So they come out with a device that's something you would buy off the shelf or see at Sharper Image or something like that. So we have different avenues of executing our projects.
Now, we were talking earlier about some of the projects that you have. Can you go into a little bit of detail of a few of them that stick out in your mind that were really successful innovations? I mean, you've got quite a few on your website.
I'd love to brag on my own projects, so that's what I'll do. I've got a couple personal connections to a couple of my projects because some of those challengers were my own soldiers, and that we've deployed with and gone through different things. One of my favorites, just because of my own personal hobbies, is we took adaptive sled hockey and took one of the sleds themselves and created a year-round training device that could operate on any hard surface, not just the ice. So if you were an adaptive sled hockey player, you wouldn't have to wait on ice time and practice hours to be on the ice, which would be maybe 3 a week. Now you could practice on a driveway, a parking lot, a hockey rink that's made for outdoors. You could practice as much as you could. So that was my personal favorite because it was fun and it was a sport that I like. We've had really all kinds of different disciplines. We've had, I could give you an example of a project out in Necessity that was probably one of the most simplest projects in concept, but it had a huge impact. One of my soldiers was shot in Iraq and lost a lot of dexterity in his primary arm. He was right-handed. He couldn't really do much with his right hand. And he just said, I'd like to use my right hand. And I'm like, okay, it's simple in nature, but it's actually a very tall order. And he's like, I just want to be able to do little things. He goes, I go out to dinner with my wife, and she has to cut my food. And his dignity was hurt and stuff like that, and he had problems mentally coping with being in public and seeing, having his wife have to help him in front of people. And so we created a device that was able to be controlled by a small switch that as you tighten the switch physically, it created grip. And it created enough grip strength for multiple items. He could cut his own food, drive a stick shift car, pick up objects. So it was such a simple project that had a huge impact on his life. But again, a lot of them are fun too. Just the sports side of it is pretty heavy. We've done bobsledding, fencing, fishing, hunting. I mean, it's really limitless. And it's kind of designed that way. You bring us what you can't do, what concept you have, what limit you're facing, we'll find a way to do it.
And then you shop it among the schools and see which engineering students are interested in it? I mean, how's the process actually work?
Sometimes it's more of, does the school have the capabilities and the experience within that particular program? So engineering programs can differ what they specialize in. So we'll send out the project ideas to the different schools, and at times they'll kind of select and say, that's a good one for our students. We'll have everything you need there. You know, one of the things as Scott was telling about some of the different projects, it's all about quality of life. You know, how can you improve your quality of life in whatever you want to do? And one of my favorite projects that we'd worked on in the past was for a veteran who had lost his right arm and most of his left hand. We liked to ride his bicycle, but he could grip the handlebars with prosthetics, but it made it hard for him to shift gears. Students made a voice-activated gear shifter. So now he just yells the command, shift to 9th gear, shift to 10th gear, and the bike shifts. So that's a very cool thing. He gets to go out and do his biking and go with that. And then we have the other side of it, which I think is more, I don't know, kind of back to the simple things that we have. One veteran, she had lost her one leg and used a wheelchair a lot, but she didn't always want to, and she wanted the wheelchair converted to a walker. And so the design was so simple, but when the students finished it, I said, how hard was that? Because it looked so easy. I said, oh, you have no idea, because it was really a big challenge. And basically they just took the grips of the wheelchair, and basically lifted them up, spun them around, flipped the seat over, and it became a spot for her to rest her leg, but then also left a spot for either putting her, she had a small daughter at the time, she could ride in the chair side, or they could put a basket there for shopping. So it just improved her quality of life. It made things easier for when she's facing a lot of challenges. And so we do a lot of stuff like that just good everyday stuff.
And the faculty for the engineering students, they get involved with the project too? Yeah,
they're very involved. The faculty are right there. They have regular meetings, and that's one of the things that Scott's in on with their weekly meetings with the student teams, the faculty, the challenger, and then sometimes we have mentors as well. We have volunteers from industry who are engineers, and they help out and give some practical experience.
Are they getting graded for this?
They're getting graded.
Oh,
yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, they need it for their graduation. So
I've actually had 2 of my veteran friends become engineering students after going through our process, because they were so impressed with what the teams had accomplished that they went, and one enrolled in New York and one enrolled in Colorado, actually. He's since moved to a different engineering school, but we've produced new engineers out of it. And it's kind of twofold. We're helping a veteran, we're helping a first responder, but that's one project is going to have a team of anywhere from 4 to 10 students that are going to graduate. So we really help the next generation of STEM students going into their field and helping a whole, whatever our impact is on one person, you can multiply that in graduating students.
Now, do any of the projects ever have commercial applications? Like, we know that a lot of the disability and speech recognition came out of the disability industry that we use in Alexa and things like that now. How about you guys? Do you see commercial applications for any of these projects, especially coming out of universities that actually deploy those in incubators?
I think there's some. We haven't pursued that yet, but we do have agreements with the schools, between the schools, the students, and ourselves for intellectual property rights, just in case there's something out there.
It's patentable?
Yeah, and so I've talked to a patent attorney to learn a little bit more about the process. It's very involved, but I think there may be things that we have there in the hopper that we've done in the past and things we're currently working on. One thing I learned is that you have to protect the knowledge of it to a certain point so that you don't give away the idea. Once it's in the public domain, anybody can kind of take the idea. So we're a little careful on how we able to talk about some projects, but we do want to protect everybody's interest on that just in case there's a possibility.
We always keep that as a venue into the future of working with somebody, partnering with maybe somebody who's more capable of mass production of something, because we are not manufacturers,
right?
But if there is that capacity, we're willing to pursue it, I believe, if we do it in the right way.
Now, as a nonprofit, what are some of the challenges you face? And are you trying to grow the organization and just keep it going?
Yeah, from a management standpoint, it's always fundraising. Any nonprofit is always focused on that. And so we get grants from corporations, foundations, we get individual donations. It's just, that's always that ongoing process and always important. And we come to events like this to try to get more exposure and learn who else is out there within the space that we're working in and see if there's potential partnerships. The other challenge is finding the challengers. We're always looking for veterans and first responders who have limitations and would like to work with us and participate in a project with us. There's so many great things. I know another one of the projects I like was we're working on is we have a blind swimmer, veteran, and they swim in their lanes, but they'll go off track, lacking vision. So the students are building a swim cap, and at either end of the swim lane has a laser, so that if they get off center, the swim cap will buzz and get them centered again. So it just, again, makes their life easier, allows them to do the things they want to do, and gives them the outlet they want for their own activity.
Now, this is your first or second year at CSUN, correct? Or, yeah. What kind of a feedback did you get last year, and how about so far this year about what people are saying about this?
Everywhere I go, this is the most unique program out there. I don't think any other organization really works on the projects that we work on. We have 50 projects this year that we're working on with our 21 universities. And everybody likes it. It's the thing that I like about it is we're helping disabled veterans, very close to something I've always enjoyed working with, and the first responders as well. But the one thing I liked about the students is they're getting graded for this, so they're motivated to do it, but they're getting a better project than their peers are even at their same school, because they're probably working on something more boring. Here they're working on something to help an individual, knowing that there's something good at the end of it all. I was with one group of students, there must have been about 40 or 50 that were in the classroom, and I asked them, how many of you have had any exposure to the military or veterans prior to working on this project? And only about a third of the hands went up. I was surprised, but I was very happy because I thought, okay, now I've got the other 2/3 have had exposure. And I think they gained a greater appreciation for those who served in the military, those who have sacrificed a great deal, and what it meant for them to be able to just go right off to college without serving. And I just felt as though it brought two different groups together, a little more than I had anticipated. And I think that's a great byproduct of what we do.
What are some of the future challenges you face as an organization?
It'll always be the fundraising. I think, unfortunately, we'll always have a group of people that will need our help. We're people who put themselves in harm's way. They volunteer to do it. They choose this life, and they know that there'll be things will happen. But there's organizations like QL Plus that will be out there to help them. And I think it's finding some neat projects, finding some people who really want to participate with us. And I think that's one of the challenges for our challengers is we ask them to commit to the whole academic year to get a project done, to work with the students, to be part of it, to visit campus and share the ideas and get the final product that they want. But for the most part, it's like I said, it's very unique and gives a lot of hope out there. It's fun.
Any of the QL Plus projects into artificial intelligence yet? Robotics?
I would say more along the line of like app development.
Mm-hmm.
We did, it wasn't robotics, but we had previously worked with a private company that had built devices that assisted artificial knees that had microprocessors in them. So we haven't ourselves worked on anything specific, but we're trying to expand. As that arena expands itself, we're able to get more projects of that type. I can't think of anything specific that we've done like that. We've built off of smart prosthetics, but we haven't created anything like that. I mean, that's those are so specialized.
Right. Especially for college students trying
Especially
to
for college
engineer.
students. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, great. Well, we appreciate the time you've taken. Now, you guys have a booth here?
We do.
Correct.
And what's the booth number?
You had to ask,
I
huh?
had to
I
ask
don't
that
know.
one. It's in the conference guide.
You'll see, it's in the back, and it's got a nice Quality of Life Plus banner. And come by and visit us. We have a lot of materials and the kinds of programs we've worked on, a lot of projects that we've worked on, and it really is a unique environment. And
Quality of Life Business, in your website is where?
It's qlplus.org.
qlplus.org. We've been talking to both Mark Robbins, who's the executive director, and Scott Hyvert, who is the program manager for the Rocky Mountain region. Gentlemen, it's a great thing what you're doing, and I really appreciate you coming by today to talk to us.
Thanks. We appreciate
Thanks for
sharing
having
us.
us.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dave Gardy for the CSUN ATC TV. We'll be back at 2:20.
Hey, good afternoon. This is Mike Pastiello with CSUN ATC TV. I'm here with some of our friends from the Netherlands visiting us. We have, watch this, we have Karthik, Vanessa, and Karthik. So there's Karthik 1 and Karthik 2. That's the only way I'll be able to distinguish them. And the name of your company is Karthik?
The Envision.
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 Okay, very good. And can you tell me a little bit first about the background of the company, the history of the company? How did you come about? What led to you being here today?
Yeah, sure. So Envision started about 5 years back as a smartphone app, which would enable people to take images of things. And we have built different AI engines that can extract information from images and have them be spoken out. As we had the app out, it was very much allowed by the community, and they started giving us so much feedback that we kept on improving the app every day, until a point we also got feedback that the app is cool, but people would actually want to experience all of this information, but in a hands-free way. So a couple of years back, we did a partnership with the Google, where we put our software on the Google glasses, and now we have smart glasses that can enable a blind or like a person with a low vision to access the information around them in a hands-free way.
So we call these are the Envision glasses. That's what the actual product too. Karthik, this is going to be so funny. Karthik 2, really it's Karthik 1. He's the founder of the company, right?
Yeah.
Tell me, why get involved with people with disabilities in this particular product? Was it because you're already involved in research, development, and in that environment, or what led you to people with disabilities and the blind and visually impaired, mostly, right?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question because, the genesis of Envision was, like what Karthik mentioned, was 5 years ago, but that's Envision as a company. But, Envision actually started a year before that, right? Not with the intention of being a company, but with the intention of actually, it was supposed to be a master's thesis of his, right? So what we did was, we know each other since our college days in doing our undergrad in India, right? And we used to build a lot of things together, and we used to work on a bunch of apps and so on and so forth. And after college, after our undergrads, he went on to do his master's in design, and I continued to work in the startup space in India. And in 2016, he was back in India for his vacation, right? I was, I was in between jobs, so to say, right? I was unemployed, and I thought, okay, it would be good for us to just meet up and have a chat and so on and so forth. And we met up because one of our mutual friends actually is a teacher at a blind school in India, in our hometown, right? And she invited us to give a talk to the kids there about what it is to be a researcher and a designer, right? And we went to and it was supposed to be this really short conversation you were supposed to have with these high schoolers after school. They just wanted to know what it is, because in India, you either are a doctor or an engineer or you're a nobody.
Well, that explains a lot of things to me. The doctor and engineer, the nobody part I'm not so worried about.
Yeah, that was how it was in India. But so we were nobodies. We were a little bit of an outcast in society at that time, being a designer and an engineer and a researcher and all those things. And so we went to the school and we told the kids there that a designer or a researcher is somebody who just wakes up and solves problems for a living. We wake up, we have a to-do list of problems, and then hopefully at the end of solving all of them, we either find bigger problems to solve, or we are able to make something useful and put it out there. And it was, like I said, a 15-minute conversation. We told them what it is to be a designer, a researcher, and we asked them what kind of problems would they like to solve when they grow up. Now, when you ask that question to high school kids, right, you usually get really idealistic answers. Like you get answers like, we want to go to the Mars, or want to cure cancer. You get all of these kind of really idealistic responses that only teenagers can come up with. But the answers that we got from kids that day were the exact opposite, right? They said they wanted to be able to read a book more independently. They wanted to be able to live independently. They wanted to be able to go out more independently. And it just struck us that these kids are going to spend a huge portion of their lives trying to get over some of these most basic hurdles that sighted people take for granted.
Because
right?
these are, I'm sorry to interrupt, these are all kids with disabilities.
Yeah, these are
visual disabilities?
Visual disabilities.
Visual disability. Okay,
these
good.
are kids with visual disabilities, and they would spend so much of their energy and potential trying to get over these basic hurdles, and only then can they dream of doing something bigger, right? And so that kind of struck a chord with us, and we ended up staying there for more than a couple of hours, actually. And we didn't go back home that day. We just went to a cafe nearby, and we started talking about how, we could bring accessible design and AI to help, or to showcase to the world at least that, this combination is a really potent combination and can actually go ahead and be a force for good. Right? And so it was never meant to be a company. It was never meant to be, us sitting here talking about this stuff 5 years later. It was supposed to be a master's thesis. It was supposed to be a fancy thing I did when I was unemployed, and I was going to go back to a boring corporate job at the end of it all. But somewhere down the line, we just started building this, and it caught fire. Actually, got a lot of momentum, and yeah, we're here 5 years later, and I hope we're here another 5 years down the line. So.
Yeah, we all do, I'm sure. But so there's a couple of good, interesting points here. First of all, I love the story, if you will, of involving young ones with disabilities right away, right? Because that's really something that we're trying to stimulate in our generations. Get involved with the users, but also get our young ones involved and get them to think creatively and think out of the box, which is pretty much what you're doing. It may have been a narrow box because of their situation, but the reality is it's expanded, right? Yeah. You probably weren't thinking or they were not thinking, oh, artificial intelligence and disability, right? They weren't thinking about anything along those lines. Yeah. We'll come back to that aspect of it in just a moment. Vanessa, can you tell me what your role is in Envision and how, what created your excitement in getting involved? How did you get involved here? I know how these guys did, but how were you?
I know, and their stories are hard ones to follow, believe me. No, I joined Envision, I guess, a little over a year and a half ago. Time's flying, must be coming up to actually 2 years soon. And I'm low vision myself, I have RP, and I've been working in technology, but mainly media tech for way too many years to confess publicly, but long enough to the point that I was really in quite a conflicted position of like, where do I go next? I couldn't keep at this level, and I was somewhat, demotivated. And then I saw that Envision was looking for a CMO. And I thought, well, can I turn something that I've always hidden and been a disability for me into a positivity? And I've never been happier. I love what I do. And in fact, I think I'm working as much as I probably did all those years ago. But it's been fantastic. And it was a pivotal time for us because we've had a really insane year at CSUN last year. And there's been so much about, bringing out new editions of the glasses and new price points and taking our app free and just generally pivoting and changing the company so that we could be more accessible. So it's been a real, just having so much fun and we're hopefully making good impact at the same time.
So last year was your first CSUN that you came through.
Yeah, and I just about recovered, and here we are again.
Yeah, there you go. Well, listen, you got to keep coming back.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the product and how it's used. So, Karthik, can you just give us a high-level overview of what the product actually is, the Envision glasses, how they work. Okay, let's start with that, and then we'll bring in the AI component, how that plays out.
Yeah, sure. So I have them on as we speak. So basically, they are a pair of like smart glasses, but they sort of like fit on your face like an ordinary pair of spectacles would. The way they are designed is that all the electronics and all the components are on the right side of the glasses. So at the very back, you have the power button and the battery and all of those good stuff. And then the part that goes over the temple, that part is where there is a touchpad. Now, that's the primary way to interact with these glasses. You do like gestures on the touchpad, and that's how you can access different options within the glasses. Now, gestures are like designed in a very similar way to how you operate a screen reader on like a smartphone. So if you have like voiceover on your iPhone, you will do like swipe forward to go to the next menu, do a swipe back to go previous menu, do a double tap to activate things. So that's the primary way to interact with the glasses. There's also a secondary way to interact with these glasses, that is with a voice command. So you just tap and hold a button on top of the glasses, and it will activate a voice command. You can just ask it to open a functionality for you. There is like a camera in the front. It's an 8 megapixel. It's a wide angle camera, which means it is able to capture a lot more than what a normal camera is able to. And the good thing about the position of the camera is that it's actually able to capture everything from your point of view, right? So it's easier to orient your head and to look at things and able to and have the ability to capture it. So these glasses are also very lightweight. It is under 50 grams is how much they weigh. So it is intended for people to have them on all the time.
Okay, so I'm a blind or low vision individual, and I've got the glasses on. And what kind of feedback am I getting? What is it? What are the glasses actually doing? And I imagine this is where some of the AI is going to come in as well. So,
yeah, exactly.
So do you want to tell me what that is, and I'll come back to.
Sure. So basically, what we've built in these glasses are different features that extract different information from an environment, right? So depending on exactly what information are you as a user looking for. So if you're looking to read a piece of text, for example, there is a mode called instant text. And what that will do is, as soon as you open that feature, it will start picking up all pieces of text around you and start speaking them out instantly.
So signs that I might be reading, or a publication, or I'm looking at a newspaper on a stand or something along that line.
Exactly. So any piece of text, it sees it, speaks it out immediately. So people are using it to just take a look at their fridge, just to hold up a product, instantly speaks it out. Or if they're out and about, they need to go to like a room number. Like if people need to find the platinum 10 room, they can just have the instant text on. They keep walking until it says platinum 10. Then they know they're there.
So they're getting an audio cue in the background, right?
Yeah,
so Karthik, how does the AI work in this? I mean, I envision. Sorry for the play on words there. But I imagine that there are a number of different ways where AI is involved here. There's recognition of, object recognition, right? And then there's the interpretation side of all this. So can you explain how that works?
Sure. So there are different types of AI, right? So AI is this really umbrella term, and there are different types of AI that are there in the glasses. So, for example, with the feature that Karthik just described, we use optical character recognition or text recognition, right, in general. And so within text recognition, our AI basically is able to read text from pretty much any printed surface, right, including handwritten text. It's also able to read text on digital screens as well, right? So that is one type of AI that we have on the glasses that runs entirely on device. Now, within text recognition, we also have a little bit more advanced AI, which is not just able to recognize text, but it's also able to make sense of it and understand the structure of text, right? So, like, for example, you're reading a magazine article, right? Now, if you give a magazine article to an AI or an OCR engine from like 5 years ago, it's not going to know that it's a magazine article. It's just going to read everything from left to right, and it's all gibberish, right? So what we've worked on over the past few years is we've worked on an AI. It's able to not just understand text, but also understand the structure of the text and then speak it out to you in the right way. So when you give it a magazine article, it's able to go ahead and understand that, okay, this has columns, this has headings, and some of the really cool stuff that we're doing is we're also making it recognize tables, right? And we're also making it recognize math equations. And someday soon, we hope it can also make sense of things like graphs and diagrams and so on, right? So we're constantly, pushing the boundaries of what the text recognition AI can understand. That's one thing. Then, of course, we have, for example, we have an image captioning AI, which is actually my favorite thing, actually, because you can just take an image and it understands all the aspects of the image, like it understands all the objects in the image. And not just that, it also understands the relationship between those objects. So when I take a picture of you, for example, right, it'll say, looks like Mike sitting on a chair holding a mic, So that's what it basically, goes ahead and says. So that's what, that's an image captioning AI, and we're kind of, again, extending the boundaries of what that can do. And we've got face recognition as well. We've got color detection, currency recognition. So we've got a whole bunch of different AI modules that do different things. And a user is completely in control of what type of AI they want to use for what functionality, right? That's it.
Yeah, very good. That's very, very interesting. So, I mean, for all intents and purposes, you're trying to broach the transition between an individual who has no sight or limited sight,
yeah,
in helping them to better understand, as you said, Karthik, their POV, their point of view, and what's in front of them, and how to interpret that, and what to do with that. Is there any notion of action associated with it? So I have a sign that says, go left. It's the left-hand arrow. So I get the notion of, I recognize it, sign says go left. I mean, that's probably a little bit easy, but is there a notion of direction, meaning you must take a left, or you must walk left, or turn left at this point? There's a lot of other examples I can think of. At this point, is there anything associated with the AI beyond the actual recognition of what it sees, and then, as you said, the interpretation and as well as the interpretation of the structure of whatever is being read?
I think that's the next step, right? I think as of now, it's basically like a Swiss knife, that you have different tools to get different information from the situation that you are in. But eventually, what we want to get to, and we are already at the beginnings of that, is a conversational AI, where you don't have to know which tool you want to use. You're just looking for information, right? So you can ask AI a question. You can just ask AI a question like, what is the color of your tie that Mike is having on? Right. So you don't have to say open the color recognition app, do a color recognition. You just ask it a question like you would ask a person, and the AI will just figure out what is the question. It will take the image, do the processing, and offer you the information. So that's the goal. That's the place we want to get to, and we are sort of at the beginning stages of that. Yeah. But that is the next steps. That's the 2.0 of the glasses.
I mean, that's kind of the big excitement that people are about ChatGPT, right? So they're saying, oh, I'll write it. Write me a novel, right? Or write my biography for me, and they get it done. But this is taking it to a level, again, for the blind and low vision, where in a real environment, you can do, as you said, interactive AI. Let it do some of the work for me that I otherwise couldn't do. I like that. So, okay, who's using who's using the Envision glasses? Where you have them? Maybe that's a marketing question, Vanessa. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's I would say everywhere. I would say the US and the UK are two of our biggest markets. Okay. We are global, but we have two products. So we've been talking mainly about the Envision glasses here today, but our app has been in the market for 5 years. It's free. It started off with a subscription. And last year, we made a business decision to take that free, which was, I think, reverse of what Apple was mostly used to. But we have over 250,000 Envisioners around the world.
Wow,
and there's a weighting around the app usage versus the glasses customers.
Right.
And we, very recently launched various editions of the glasses to address certain price points, which is making it easier for people to get the glasses on, in some markets around insurance or grants or, work supported and study supported, education supported actions, yeah.
User types, kids at school, adults, who
Yeah, it's, you think, oh, it's a sort of tech product. It has to be somebody who's tech savvy. And, it's been interesting because you would think it's somebody, as Kartik said earlier, with the way the gestures has been developed, it's based on, well-known, voiceover type gestures and things. So we've always said it's in basic levels for the glasses, anyone who uses voiceover or uses a smartphone can use the glasses for the gestures. But thinking where we're going with voice recognition, thinking where we're going with all this advanced, GPT and AI, that it's actually so intuitive that even that isn't going to necessarily be a requirement moving forward. So at the moment, it's been a real mix of people. We have people of, in their later years in retirement age that have just generally wanted this. They want the hands-free experience. It's a real mix.
I know this really interesting stat where our youngest user is about 15 years of age, and then the oldest user is about 90.
Oh, there you are.
Wow, that's very good.
So
we're very inclusive.
Yeah.
So I think it's basically, it boils down to people who really want access to information, and they sort of do come across a lot of your visual information in their everyday life. So it happens to be people who are working sort of professional a lot, who do work in an environment where there is a lot of inaccessible information around them. But we'd always see people who are just enthusiastic about being able to access information all of a sudden, and that is a big group.
Are you getting feedback from the users, and what kind of feedback are you getting?
All the time. So I think one of the things that, like the story we said, because we started out building this from a user's feedback, right? That's what sort of got us into it. And one of the things we realized early on is that we always need to be talking with the users, and they have to be the ones that, who drive all the design decisions that are made in the glasses. So we have users now from across the world who are very much engaged in the development of the features on the glasses. And the feedback is always just surprising, right? Because what we are building is tools, and then when you sort of put it out there, you sort of actually get to see how people are sort of using these tools. And they have use cases that will surprise us even, because we didn't anticipate somebody could use this for that, for example. To give an example, we have a feature on these glasses. In addition to all the AI stuff, you can also make a video call with these glasses. So you can have a friend or a family member that you can just add as an ally, and you can just make a video call, and you have still your hands free, and you can still ask them for for assistance. And we had we had a user who was able to paint a wall in her house with her sister being on the other side of the call. And she's completely blind, but she was able to paint a kitchen, right? Like, we didn't anticipate that as something that the classes would enable. So there are so many sort of use cases that we still come across that is a surprising thing for us.
Yeah, very nice. That's very good. Next steps. Where do we go from here? We got the glasses. We got the app. Where do we go from here? Tell us what you could tell us.
Sure. I think there are a couple of things that we're really, really excited about, right? One is the fact that as AI continues to, become more unified, because right now when you look at AI, it's kind of, there's a vision AI, there is a text AI. That's what you see with ChatGPT, where everyone is talking to it via text. What we see on the horizon is that, these things will come together to form one unified type of an AI, right? And we are actually at the very forefront of building such AI, where we think that, okay, we just need, like what Kartik mentioned, a conversational AI that's able to understand images, that's able to understand text, that's able to understand voice, and all that users have to do is just have a conversation with it, right? So that's one thing that we're really working on. In fact, if you actually drop by our booth, 1011, you will be able to test out some of the really cool stuff that we've been doing with GPT and visual AI, right? We've been able to bring it together where you can ask questions of the documents that you scan, and it's actually a real demo that you can check out at our booth. That's one thing that we're really excited about. The other thing is we also see our devices becoming more and more personal. And that's one of the other areas of AI that we're really excited about, where for example, let's say you have your favorite coffee mug, and you're not a fan like me of sharing coffee mugs with other people in the house. You want to always know, this is my coffee mug versus my wife's coffee mug. So you can go ahead and teach your AI to recognize faces and objects. Faces you can already do with the glasses, but objects are extremely challenging because they look different in different lighting conditions and so on. And so we're working, again, to personalize AI as much as possible going into the future. And lastly, we'd like to have Envision everywhere. That's one of the things that we are also working on, where today the Envision app is actually one of the very few apps in this space that are there on both iOS and Android. And now we have Envision on the Envision glasses as well. And hopefully we'll be able to bring Envision to the desktop later this year, on the web, and whatever platform that comes out tomorrow that has a camera and a microphone and a powerful enough processor, we're going to be on there, and we're going to give people the ability to access visual information through as many mediums as possible.
Excellent. That's excellent. It's good that it's across all platforms, the big major platforms right now, as far as that. Now, again, for the folks in the audience, those that are watching our show, so you're here, you're in booth 101. Did I hear that correctly?
1011.
1011.
Yeah,
okay,
1011.
Yeah. And folks can walk up to the booth and they can get demos. They can try the glasses on and get that. What's your website?
It's letsenvision.com, LETSENVISION.com. And we're here at CSUN all week. Please drop by our booth. We're at 1011. We have exciting demos of the glasses to show you a little bit of the future and a lot of the present. So please drop by, and we'd be more than happy to have you. And we also have really nice goodies at the booth as well. So
that gets everybody every time.
Yes, that gets everybody every time. And yeah, you can get the glasses, and we'd love to have you there.
Very good. Well, Karthik, Vanessa, and Karthik, it's been great having you here. Very interesting technology. And as you said, I think the boundaries here are kind of limitless. There's an awful lot out there that can be done. Wearable technology, AI, for individuals with disabilities, I mean, I'm not sure that it gets any better than that, just in terms of the field that you can get through. So thank you all for being here, and we look forward to inviting you to Envision's booth here at CSUN. So this is Mike Paciello with CSUN ATC TV. Thanks very much for the Envision folks, and we look forward to our next show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks. Thank you.
Everybody ready?
Yep.
Cool. Yes.
We got this.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to our session we're calling What's New with Alexa. My name is Josh Mealy. I am a researcher in the Device Accessibility Organization at Amazon, and we're going to be talking today to some really awesome accessibility leaders in the Amazon space who specialize in Alexa in particular. And having said that name twice now, I'm going to mention that you're listening to us from somewhere where there is a device that responds to that name near you. You may want to kind of push the button that goes dudunk so that she's not woken up by our conversation, because we're going to be talking about her quite a bit. And joining me today, we have Jesse Lorenz, who is a senior accessibility specialist. We have Fabio Sacca, who is a senior product manager, and we have Juliana Tarpe, who is also a senior product manager, and all of them specialize in one form or another in designing delightful experiences for our customers with disabilities around Alexa. Juliana is in the Alexa Accessibility Org, and Fabio and Jesse are both focusing on Alexa shopping. And so our conversation today is going to be all about how we think about accessibility, the features, and the ways we go about designing and thinking about accessibility for our customers with disabilities in Alexa. So before we do dive into talking about the products and things that you design and produce, I'd like to just introduce you. I'd like folks to know a little more about you and who you are. So I'd love it if each of you could kind of give a little intro and tell us how you got involved in accessibility, how long you've been at Amazon, what it is you do in accessibility at Amazon, and any other interesting tidbits you'd like us to know. Juliana, can we start with you?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Josh. So yes, my name's Juliana. I've been at Amazon for just over 6 years. And for me, the work in accessibility is deeply personal. I myself am a proud sunflower, so I have invisible disability. And it has had an impact in my life, but it was only at university that I discovered that there were accessibility resources that helped me get the support I needed to be able to do well. And I was so grateful, and it was this whole other world I hadn't experienced before. So that kind of stayed with me in terms of wanting to pay that forward, wanting to work on that space. But also, I really love innovation. And I think that we're a pretty cool group of people to design for, because it's very challenging, and you really have to think outside the box and innovate to be able to drive change in the space. So I find that personally really exciting. And so what I work on is Alexa accessibility, so that can be feature launches designed for people with disabilities, but it can also be ensuring that all of the Alexa experiences are themselves accessible. So working with different teams across Alexa, say the news team or music team, and working with them to make sure that Alexa is accessible.
Thank you so much. And that sounds, what an exciting job to be able to do that, right? I mean, it's fun to design for the people, design for yourself and your community. So that's super cool. Jesse, Fabio, I'm gonna go to you next.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for watching our session. My name is Fabio Sacca. I've been with Amazon a little over 8 years across various teams. I joined the Alexa shopping team about 3 years ago when we created our accessibility program and product roadmap. My connection with disability is as a caregiver of the elder members of my family, but also as an ally and an advocate for my disabled friends in the LGBTQ community. While I might not yet have a disability myself, I think a lot about a not so far distant future in which I will want to be living in a world that thinks more about accessibility, and where accessibility is probably going to be more relevant for me as I age. What I do is, within Alexa Shopping, we take a specific focus into thinking what Amazon has been able to do best in the past few years, which is online shopping, and trying to find ways that we can make it even further accessible with the power of Alexa, with voice, with the AI, at home as well as in store.
Thank you so much, Fabio. Jesse Lorenz. Please,
for me, accessibility has been a lifelong journey. I was born totally blind, and so accessibility has been part of my life since day one. My role at Amazon is the Senior Accessibility Specialist on the Inclusive Shopping team within Alexa Shopping, which is a really awesome team to work on, because we work on making features accessible that help people shop using Alexa.
Awesome. How long did you say you've been at Amazon?
It'll be 2 years in May. 2
years. So that, I just wanted to, introduce us as a group, because I think, one of the things that I mentioned earlier is that, we design, we don't design for people with disabilities, we design with people with disabilities, and we are the ones doing the design. And I love that, a bunch of us here are able to sort of represent for the disabled community as Amazonians who are bringing accessibility to our customers. We talk about accessibility in a lot of different ways. Earlier today, we had a session where we talked about device accessibility. So we talked about building screen readers and magnifiers. In another session, we're going to talk about more web accessibility stuff. But I think that accessibility means something different in Alexa, and I'd really like you to speak to that. What does accessibility mean when we talk about our favorite voice assistant. Juliana, can you sort of orient us to that?
Sure, thanks, Josh. So I think, our team sits within Alexa for everyone. So really grounding ourselves in having that clarity that we need to build for customers of different abilities, but also backgrounds and races and everything that a person's identity can really encompass. But really what I've found is that when we build for accessibility, it really raises the bar for all customers. And that's the part that I enjoy, that it's making other ways of doing things available to customers. Not just meeting the minimum bar and saying, okay, you can do this with captions, but enhancing that and creating more choice for all customers altogether. And I love that you mentioned building with customers. I think we'll get into our partnerships later, but that's really crucial of how we work with our customers at every stage of design, and that way we can make sure that we're building something that is usable and delightful.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And Jesse, so sort of drilling down into the shopping part of it, like what does accessible voice shopping mean from your perspective?
Well, within our team, Alexa Shopping, we think that shopping is really a fundamental component of independent living. You need to be able to order your groceries or order a salad bowl, and do it with independence and getting the information you need to make a good purchase. Because Alexa has such an advanced voice user interface, we're able to harness that voice user interface with natural language utilization to make shopping even more accessible. When Amazon first started, Josh, back on literally day one, they revolutionized shopping because you could click a button, put something into your cart, and it would show up at your door. It's such a game changer for people with disabilities because we no longer have to worry about transportation or wondering where the item we want is located in the store, which could be quite a chore if you can't see where things are in the store. And so using Alexa is just raising the bar even more on those experiences. We have shopping experiences, yes, that rely a lot on voice, but we're also able to harness touch. So using voice and touch, we help empower all of our customers, but in particular customers with disabilities, to shop with ease, convenience, and do it with freedom. It's pretty awesome.
It is pretty awesome. Fabio, you have anything to add to that?
I would add that the way we think about accessibility is also very intersectional. So we don't just look at the customer with disability, but we look also what accessibility may mean for people who may not have access or experience in using assistive technology. We look at accessibility across various income brackets when it comes to shopping. What if as a customer I need to shop and I don't have a credit card, or I may rely on EBT and food stamps as a mean to shop. We also look at the unique needs that a customer may have to shop with respect to their hair type or their body size or their skin tone. And finally, we also look at the intersection between accessibility and language, because if you are, for example, someone like me for whom English is their second language, you may find yourself mixing up accents or words from your native language, and you want the products to be accessible for those scenarios as well. By having this intersectional approach, we're actually finding that we're able to come up with the greater ideas and greater thoughts about what an accessible experience may look like beyond assistive technology. And this is also one of the ways we're trying to drive further innovation in our product and in the shopping experience overall.
So interesting. Looking at inclusive, inclusion includes disability, and I think it's just so awesome that you frame it that way. And sort of building on these principles or these sort of this foundation of what accessibility means in Alexa or in the context of Alexa, I want to give you guys a chance to talk about the features that you've been working on, things that you've released in the last couple of years, or even maybe things that you think are really great about Alexa and capabilities that you've been part of building that you want to highlight, that you want people to know about. So just let's sort of give an overview of recent and favorite Alexa features. Jesse, you want to lead us off?
Sure. Well, I'm going to dig a little deeper on our voice user interface because I think it is so cool and revolutionary. You know, you can search the entire Amazon catalog just using your voice. Whether you're searching for a salad bowl, you can buy a salad bowl, or you can buy a cell phone. Or let's say you're not sure what kind of salad bowl or cell phone you might want. We have search capabilities built into Alexa now, so you could say, Alexa, what's the cheapest salad bowl under $25? Or what's the best salad bowl under $25? You could say to Alexa, tell me the product reviews for the cell phone that you're looking for. Really, it's quite amazing the amount of information that you can get just by using your voice, searching for products, asking for the product details page. You can add things to your cart. You can take things out of your cart, all just by using your voice. And I like to remind people, let's say that you place an order with Alexa and you want to cancel your order. You can always just use your voice and say, Alexa, cancel my last order. And she'll do that right away. So I really, really am excited about just the general voice user interface, but I also want to tell you about a feature that I've been working a lot on, and I'm really proud of because it came out of my team, is grocery delivery. You know, going to the grocery store can be such an arduous task for disabled folks. And being able to order your groceries by voice, just one by one, adding bananas to cart, adding milk to cart, and then being able to check out your cart using your voice, choose your delivery time using your voice. The entire flow, it's a multi-turn voice user interface, and it is just so elegant and slick, and a real game changer for all customers, but especially for customers with disabilities. So I'm super proud of our grocery delivery advancements, especially the voice user interface.
And you should be. In fact, I want to just personally say thank you for working on that, because that is super cool. Fabio, do you want to add anything to what Jesse had to say?
Yes, I may actually, try to take us in a place where actually we may not think of Alexa using voice all the time, and that place is, for example, shopping lists. So we know that's a feature that is very popular with customers. They add items to their list all the time. They beat any kind of list that they want. But we found that when it comes to taking that list to let's say a physical store, and customers may want to actually go through their list and buy those items, we have an opportunity to further solve for accessibility challenges like navigation in store. So if for example you have your Alexa app with your shopping list, and you go to a Whole Foods store or a Fresh store, you can group the items in your shopping list by store layout, and Alexa will automatically rearrange the items in your shopping list by category, by aisle, starting from the entrance of the store. So it will be easier for our customers to navigate the experience, find all the items at the same time. It's convenient for everyone, but it's particularly helpful for customers for whom shopping is maybe overwhelming due to motor impairment, visual impairment, cognitive impairments. Along the same line, on the Amazon app, we recently introduced a feature that actually allows you to ask Alexa from the Amazon app, where is tomato sauce in the Whole Foods store? And Alexa will tell you what aisle you could find that item. You could even ask, does Whole Foods have tomato sauce? And you will get an answer about that. You could also ask other informations about the restrooms in the store. You could get the direction from that. So we're really trying to look at what may be more staple features and see how we can continue to push the envelope to solve other use cases. Also, I think collaboration has been something that we've been thinking a lot, because a lot of time when it comes to shopping, we don't do it by ourselves. We do it with family members, and in the case of customer with disabilities, sometimes we may rely on a caregiver, a family member to do grocery for us. So something that we found we saw that was very important for our customer during the peak of the COVID pandemic was giving them the possibility to send their shopping list to somebody else. And we made that available via voice as well. Customer can say, Alexa, send my shopping list, and that shopping list will be made available to one of their Alexa contacts of their choice.
Super cool. Thank you so much, Fabio. And so, obviously, Alexa does a whole lot more than just help you shop. Let's zoom out to the bigger picture of Alexa. Juliana, what kind of cool features have you been working on or longtime favorites?
Sure, it's definitely hard to pick, and there's a lot of folks working across these features that I definitely want to give credit to. But from what remains of my accent, you might be able to tell that I have family in different parts of the world. So one that's near and dear to my heart is the work we did on call captioning. So that is where you're on a live video call, an Alexa to Alexa video call, and what is being said is live transcribed on the screen. So we designed this for deaf and hard of hearing folks, also my mother who speaks English as a second language. And it's just really wonderful to be able to have that live transcription on those calls, and it was something that was very important during the pandemic, especially. So last year we actually expanded that to beyond the US, so to Mexico, Brazil, and Canada, and then added Spanish, French, Portuguese. So we're always exploring and seeing where our customers are and where we can expand, but connecting more of those families was exciting. And then adding that feature to the Alexa mobile app so that you can talk with the captions on the go. So that's one of those, but the one I also really love is that historically, Alexa has had this perception of being voice forward, and Alexa absolutely is, and we see those benefits for some of our disability groups. But there's a lot of individuals who feel excluded, who say, wait, what if Alexa doesn't understand me? What if I'm nonverbal? How can I use Alexa? So we have a feature called Tap to Alexa, which has been around for about 5 years. So you can actually type your request. You can type out what's the weather or anything like that. But we were kind of seeing feedback from customers that those devices, the Echo Show, the one with the screen, can be quite communal. And they wanted this on a more private device, and they wanted that more personal interaction. So we actually put that feature onto the Fire tablets. So now a customer can take that wherever they go. And not only can they kind of have that as their little central console for managing Alexa and even firing things on devices and smart home all over the place, but we also added text-to-speech. So being able to type things that can be spoken aloud. And so it's very exciting to be able to do that on a device that starts at $80, because as we all know here, expensive is not accessible. So we're really, really focused at that at Amazon of how much value can we bring on affordable devices. So that was a really exciting launch that we had last year. And the final thing I wanted to mention is there's just so much work to do across accessibility, and I was really excited with some of the work of my colleagues on the Speech Accessibility Project. So we worked with the University of Illinois, Google, Apple, Meta, and Microsoft. And so this is a combined project to be able to collect more speech samples from people with different speech patterns, so that collectively all our AIs can get better at understanding different speech patterns. So really, really exciting to be working together so that we can progress faster, because there's just so much to do.
There certainly is. And, I love that you talked about collaboration and, all of those, the features that all of you have been mentioning are just, just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many things that Alexa can do that we don't think about a lot. And I want to, talk about one of these, we at Amazon have what we call leadership principles, but you can think of them sort of like, kind of like words to live by, things to, sayings to build product by. And one of them is that we are customer obsessed, which basically means that we spend a lot of time thinking about what our customers need, trying to find out what our customers need and want, and trying to delight them with the things that we do. And of course, customer obsession extends very clearly with our customers with disabilities. And we need to be able to hear the metaphorical voices of those customers in order to know what people need, what people want us to do better, what people want us to do differently, what kinds of new cool features they're hoping we will work on. And I'd like to hear from y'all about how do we go about listening to the voices of our customers, hearing, getting customer feedback, doing the things that give us the information about how to delight our customers with disabilities? Why don't you start us off on that one, Juliana?
Sure thing. And something I really love about that principle is the word obsession. It's so intense, right? I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's quite accurate. And so that's right. We really work back from the customers. So a lot of that is having people with disabilities working at Amazon and being able to collaborate. And I know how often I tap you guys to get your perspective on things. But a really important thing that we've been working on that has step changed, certainly for our team, how we collaborate with our customers and the frequency of that is through partnerships. So we partner with certain organizations. For example, United Ability, this great organization down in Birmingham, Alabama. And it essentially allows us to connect with them from the very early stages of our design, right? So we will get UX designs and show them a PowerPoint presentation of just sketches and mocks before we've even built anything. Then we have a working prototype, and we'll take that down and get customers to actually play with it and give us real-time feedback. What's been really fun, too, is going there with our engineers, and so they're magicians, so sometimes they'll go in a room and make an amendment, and then they come back and it's already changed. And so it's really fun to do that iterative feedback and iterative process. And then by the time we get to launch, we've really collaborated end-to-end on this. And I'm really grateful for our research team that we have that really allows us to start from the customer and work backwards and not just that be kind of a funny saying. And so that really allows us to have that voice. And if we're ever asking ourselves any questions, we don't need to wait for there to be a scheduled research study. We can send over a quick email, and we have direct contact with SLPs, speech-language pathologists, to get their perspective and make sure that our inclusion of our customers is iterative, not just at one point.
Fabulous, yeah. And you mentioned working with Amazonians with disabilities. We have a really powerful culture at Amazon of disability, a really cool Amazonian affinity group that has a huge voice inside Amazon about disability and accessibility. And I love that you mentioned that. Thank you. Fabio, do you want to talk to how customer obsession and getting feedback from our customers works in Alexa shopping?
Yes, and I think this applies also for all Amazon teams. In general, we found that our customers tend to have to express a lot of their thoughts and feeling about our products without needing oftentimes to solicit that. They post about it. They have their own blogs and reviews about it. And we find that many customers actually reach out directly to Amazon. They reach out to our customer service every time they need particular assistance with a purchase, a product experience. And we found that to be a very important way in which we learn directly from the lived experience of customers using our products or wanting our products to work differently. So how does it work? For those who don't know, anybody can connect to our customer service. You can go to Amazon.com or the Amazon mobile app, go into settings and select the customer service. And once you're there, you could ask to be transferred to a disability specialist. We have a group of trained customer service associates that are specialized in serving customers with disability and needs to navigate the experience with assistive technology. They help them sort any challenges from setting up devices to figuring out purchases or where are their deliveries. And those teams take note of the customer feedback, and they share it back to future teams like ours with our colleagues as a way to educate directly from the customer experience what we can do better, what we could do differently, and what we're not doing yet that the customer wants. We've used those anecdotes many times to make our experience for non-prime customers better, to improve the way we set up smart home devices, the way customers navigate on the Amazon shopping app. So I find that personally to be a great way, not just to inform myself, but also to educate the developer teams around me, because it kind of connects directly them with customer in real life that use the products that they build.
Sorry, I thought you might have one more thing to say there. Thank you so much for that, Fabio. And Jesse, do you want to add anything to what Fabio was?
I would like to add something. I think it's really important for the CSUN conference attendees to understand how fundamental research and roundtables are to the Amazon culture. Since day one, Amazon has been listening to the voices of our customers, and that hasn't changed. One of my favorite parts of my job is bringing customers with disabilities in to talk to our developers. So I've put together a roundtable of veterans with disabilities. Folks with mobility impairments have come in and talked to our developers. This year we're doing 2 roundtables, one regarding folks with cognitive decline as a result of aging, and another with customers who have hearing impairments. And the reality is that stories help change hearts and minds, and putting folks with disabilities and our developers in a room together and letting them listen and learn from one another is really powerful. And again, it's just a fundamental part of how we do business at Amazon.
Yeah, and I'll just add here that we, what we're doing today is part of listening to our customers. We're not at CSUN just to tell you about all the cool stuff that we do. We're here to listen, and we brought over 50 people from Amazon to be here, to be at our booth, to talk to the people, to talk to our customers here at CSUN who want us to do better, have ideas for us, who have suggestions. And we don't just go to CSUN, we go to other conferences throughout the year. And so this is a huge part of not only listening to our customers, but what Jesse was saying, bringing Amazonians, folks from Amazon who are not steeped in disability culture like some of us are, and enjoying the CSUN culture and learning as we go. So it's a great part of educating ourselves about what our customers need. So we're pretty tight-lipped at Amazon about what's coming up. We don't usually talk about things until they are ready to go and announced. We don't pre-announce things. And so it's really hard to sort of give people a view of what might be coming up, but I wonder if we can sort of talk a little bit about what people might expect from the future of Alexa and Alexa shopping. Jesse, do you have anything to say about what our customers with disabilities might expect from a future more accessible Alexa?
Well, Josh, I don't want to be coy and I don't want to give away secrets or anything. I'm just super excited about generative AI and things like ChatGPT. Generative AI is going to change the way that we use our personal assistants, like Alexa. It's going to change the way that we use technology, the way that we work, the way that we write documents, and it'll probably change the way we shop too. That's tantalizing, isn't it?
Fabio, anything to add to that?
Yeah, you're right. Unfortunately, we can't go too much in details, but there is definitely one trend in the world of AI that makes me very excited about the future. So I think so far everybody who has interacted with artificial intelligence has noticed that it's more of a reactive experience. You say a command, the AI responds. You ask Alexa to turn on the light. Alexa turns off the light. You ask Alexa for the weather. Alexa tells you the weather. And I think we've covered pretty much our bases there. But I think the next step is going to make those AIs more reactive. So being able to take action proactively to provide more convenience, to even simplify more things, and to help customers pay attention to things they may not be paying attention to, and go even beyond the information that you may share with your command. Look at the way you navigate, the books you read, the shopping tasks that you completed. I'll give an example of that I personally like a lot, which is Alexa, what should I read next? It's an example where you were asking Alexa for an advice, and Alexa will look at what you read in the past, what are some of the reading trends that we may see on the back end, and provide a more personalized answers back to you, an answer that we hope will become more and more personalized in the future. Or another one that is more like shopping related is smart deals. So it's something that our team launched last year, and it's a feature that will notice when you add a particular item to your shopping list, to your cart, you save it for later. It will notify you through an Alexa notification when that item may have deals attached to it 24 hours before that deal begins. And customer can just say, Alexa, buy it for me. And when the deal begins, with permission from the customer, Alexa will buy that item for them. And we noticed that, especially from the community of customers with disability, a large positive response from features like this, because especially navigating the online world, like shopping, there's a lot of repeated tasks. You have to navigate through pages and pages. You have to keep track.
This question, because I can't say a lot, but what I can say is that we will continue to be very centered on nothing about us without us, that we will put our customers first. And so historically, we did a lot of great work within the vision and the hearing space, and we've been working more and more with research and our partnerships, as I said, with United Spinal and United Ability, to better understand customers with speech and with mobility disabilities. We're starting to do more work within the cognitive space. Jessie also mentioned that her team is doing that too. So really putting those customers at the forefront of what we're doing. But something that I think is really key, and something that I learned from two friends down in Birmingham, Alabama. So Belinda and Daniel are a married couple. They both have cerebral palsy, but they have very, very different abilities, right? So Daniel uses eye gaze technology, Belinda uses switch access controllers, and they both have everything set up slightly differently. So if we had just categorized two customers as having this disability and then try to go serve them, we wouldn't get very far. So I'm really excited to be focusing more on ability. What can you do? What is comfortable for you to do? What do you prefer to do? And then put the burden on our technology, on Alexa, to understand that, to process that, and then to help that customer do whatever they want to do, how they want to do it, when they want to do it. That's what's most exciting to me. I think that's within the bounds of what can be shared, but yeah, there's definitely always a lot of hard work going on, and lots of exciting stuff to come.
Absolutely, and we're all excited to see what the future holds. I asked a little while ago about sort of favorite, features that you want people to know about. We are coming to the end of our time together today, and I just wonder, is there anything that we'd like to leave our audience with? Maybe something that is interesting to you, or that Alexa does particularly well, or just something that you want people to know about. There's all sorts of important stuff to tell people. We couldn't possibly squeeze it all into one session. But Juliana, why don't you? Is there anything you'd like to leave folks with?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that having different ways to access Alexa is what I'd love to leave people with, that it's not just voice, it's touch. You can now use switch access with tablets. And there's also a lot of other inputs that are not action-based. It can be a certain time of the day, or it can be presence detection. So I really can't say enough about routines and how amazing routines are, and you should really encourage people to go in and try that, because you can set things up to say, for example, when the dog barks, flash the lights, or when the baby cries, send me a push notification. And you can really personalize that to your home, to your needs. And what's really cool is having what we call, actions and then triggers. So those actions are always getting smarter, right? They can be times of the day, certain words, Bluetooth-based presence detection, so that when you walk in the room with your phone, then Alexa can detect you've walked in the room, and maybe you want it to start playing reggaeton. Whatever you want, right? It's absolutely for you to own and write. And so I think routines is a really amazing part of Alexa.
Excellent, thank you so much, and super, super helpful for, I'm just gonna throw something in here. One of the things that I love about Alexa is that it's so much of what we do, again, is cool for everybody and transformative for people with disabilities, and routines is just a great example of that. Jesse, what would you like to leave people with?
Well, I just want to piggyback on what you were saying about us being here at the conference and invite people to stop by the booth and meet us, stay connected, let us know your concerns. We are on Amazon.com/Alexa shopping, or you can go to Amazon.com/accessibility. Either one of those are really good resources. Fabio and I are also on LinkedIn, so feel free to find us there or in the booth.
Booth 103, as a matter of fact. Fabio, do you have anything to add?
Well, back to our obsession about customers and wanting to continuously learn more directly from the customer experience. There is one feature that it's one of my favorites that anybody could use from their Echo device whenever they want to share their thoughts about their Alexa experience. They can just say, Alexa, I have feedback, and provide directly their point of view, their opinion about what frustrations they may have, what they wish Alexa would do more, or even share their appreciation when things go well. So the good thing about that is that a transcript of that communication will be shared within the team, and we'll continue to feed the way we improve our products for everybody.
Again, that's Alexa, I have feedback. That's a great little tip to tell people about. Thank you so much, Fabio. And I just want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you, Fabio. Thank you, Jesse. And thank you, Juliana, for joining us today. This is just one of several sessions that that Amazon is holding in this broadcast studio during CSUN this year. And we also, obviously, as Jesse mentioned, we have lots of folks at the booth number 103. Please come visit us. The next session will be introducing you, not the next session coming right up, but in our next Amazon session, which is tomorrow, we'll be introducing some leaders from Kindle and Prime Video. And it's so wonderful to be able to be here today and speak with you. I want to say thank you to all three of you, and thank you to our audience for being here today.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Josh.
Josh.